In what is one of the craziest things to ever happen, Dragon Ball FighterZ is back. Now, whether this is actually ArcSys or this is in-house with Bandai or maybe Outreach, not entirely sure just yet. But the big thing Dotto and I have talked about for the longest time is that like balance patches can really only go, on our podcast, balance patches can really only go so far. What's really going to get people back into a game is actual new content. Like, it'll bring back some of the diehards, but this right here is, I'm not kidding, like, this is defying, right? What are we, like, I wish I'd gotten my reaction to this, but I woke up to Dotto texting me about it. So there was no way for me to just be able to raw react because this is real. FighterZ is back, but in normal me fashion, I'm going to be a Dokkan head here and bring this to the Dokkan side of things. Really cool, by the way, that they even like gave this an icon up there. The last time FighterZ got content, to put this into context for so many people, would have been Android 21, but that's not like the most exciting thing. The last time, no offense against 21, but the last time like people were really locked in with this game would be the last time premium DLC dropped, which would be Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta back in the spring of 2021. We are 4.5 years later. And this is presumably, of course, not dropping again, as it literally said, what, spring 2026. It's gonna be a full 5-year gap from premium DLC till next premium DLC. I mean, by all accounts, especially with the, you know, the launch of Dokkan FighterZ, this game was basically dead. But as I was saying, in normal sort of like Dokkan player fashion, I'm bringing this back and relating it back to Dokkan because I've had people on me about my takes of thinking Daima should have been here, Daima should have been here, Daima should have been here, right? At every single turn, because it's actual new content. This game is old. We've seen multiple of basically everything they can do at this point. Yes, you can niche down. Yes, you can find really rare instances like Garlic Jr., but for the most part, this game is not moving the way it typically does. When I bring this up, right? So this came out on December 25th of 2018. This movie launched in Japan on December 14th. So a whopping 11 days later, we had not just this guy, we had all of these characters dropped all at once. This was insane. And this is what the game used to do. But for whatever reason, we are now 7 months past Daima being completely finished, right? Daima finished at the end of February. And the only things from Daima that we have in the game entirely right now are this, and this. So if you guys haven't been keeping up with Dokkan, these are the only 3 Daima characters that are in the game that are usable outside of 2 free-to-plays that we're just not going to count. That is crazy. And so here we are. The mobile game is somehow behind all the console games. Now, granted, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that by the time FighterZ has Adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku, we will hopefully be able to say that we have that in Dokkan. But it is crazy that they won't even at least address it. And I get gacha games, so they probably feel like they can't. But the brother game to this has had both Adult Super Saiyan 3 and Adult Super Saiyan 4 since March. Like, when the show wrapped up, a week and a half later, we got Adult Super Saiyan 3, and a month later, we got Adult Super Saiyan 4 in Legends. Now, the biggest thing that I've been told every time I bring up this particular drop of characters with all of this is that animations have gotten more complex. So then I bring up Superhero, right? These animations for both Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are really good. And these guys came out, now actually their JP counterparts were a week ahead, but these guys came out only 2 months after the movie had gone live everywhere. Only 2 months. And if we actually even count the release in Japan in June, that's still only 4 months. We're at 7 months. We are at basically the farthest out we've ever had to wait for something in the game. And my argument is going to always be, this is a mobile game. They should be able to move faster. And I want to bring that up because then if you come over here, Dokkan is actually going to be like the last game to get all this stuff for stuff that was still continually getting content, which is even crazy because FighterZ was done. Again, I think most of us, like me and Dotto, would be on the podcast full coping about the fact that FighterZ would hopefully come back and hopefully get more content, but most people would be like, yeah, y'all are coping like this. It's not happening. ArcSys moved on. You know, they've got Guilty Gear Strive, they've got you know, now the Marvel game, like this is just not happening. And I bring this up because Xenoverse 2 already has it. They've already devved. I mean, again, I'm not a developer, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that developing these 3D models with these 3D attacks is more strenuous on a dev team than developing Dokkan characters. And I had multiple people agree on this, people that have said they are familiar with, you know, development and stuff, and I've agreed with that. And so I bring up this webpage because it's insane that Sparking Zero beat Dokkan. Sparking Zero, Xenoverse 2 beat, like, Xenoverse 2 beat Dokkan by multiple months, right? This has been in the game for a really long time. Then Kakarot literally has a Daima DLC already that has more content in it because it actually includes Tamagami and all of that than Dokkan currently has. So all of the ongoing games minus Breakers, which if somehow Breakers were to beat Dokkan, because everyone has sort of just wrote that game off, that'd be the biggest L Dokkan has ever held, period. But coming back to the conversation about, well, the animations are crazy, I present you this guy, okay? I present you this guy. The movie launched in June. Now, this was a unanimous drop on both Global and JP. So even if we took the June drop, July, August, September, October, November, December, 6 months, we are now further out. We're now further out from when Superhero dropped, and we got these characters that I'm going to assume they were way more secretive about, and they actually probably devved this guy. I believe I've heard True say he's had little birdies tell him, I don't know what he's referring to when he says that this guy was developed after the movie came out because they were so secretive with Superhero. Now with Daima, we know that's not the case. We know that's not the case. And to everyone that keeps telling me that, well, these take too long, animations, I present to you this guy. So this guy came out on December 26th. He has references from as soon as the Tamagami episode, which came out on November 29th, less than a month. Are you going to try to tell me that these animations right here are not absolutely incredible? Because guess what? Where's the active? Where's the active? They are. These animations are amazing. These are really, really good. And this is why I want this character and want all these characters in the game. And I don't understand, like, oh, TDC, GDC, like, well, they had to do this and they had to do this. No, they didn't. Like, no, they didn't. Sorry, I have a cough right now, but look at this. Look, like, what are we talking about, man? You like, like, this looks incredible, and this is literally just debuted less than a month before it came out in Dokkan. And even crazier, they had to embellish because they're literally creating frames that didn't exist. They're like actually bringing it like vertical and stuff. Like, dude, I just cannot get on board with this. Like, well, it just takes a lot of time to develop these. Like, the animations have gotten so good, and then we know that they were presented with documentation about this stuff prior to it releasing. So, and I would love to think that somehow they're holding them back, but like the animation side, Toei's like, no, Dokkan, you can't do this. But then I look at things like Sparking Zero and Xenoverse having them, and Legends, and I go, it's not, there's just no way. How has Legends had this character since March, and we're now in October with no Daima to be seen in sight, right? Like, to me, there's no way that SSJ4 Goku is dropping randomly now anytime before the 11th anniversary. And to the people that have been on me about how it's always been 11th anniversary, bro, sure, but the thing is, no. Like, we always wait for anniversaries. No, we don't. What do you mean by that? This wasn't an anniversary. This wasn't an anniversary. UI Goku wasn't an anniversary. All these no character has debuted at an anniversary. No character. Will Beast Gohan Nano? No. I know that we like to meme and joke and on this guy, but by all accounts and purposes, this is a Beast Gohan. I know it is just in the active, but show me somewhere outside of the story mode that you can see anything from a premium character that is mini SSJ4, is adult SSJ4, is adult SSJ3. You can't. You literally cannot show me that. So no, that argument is null and void. They have always dropped characters previous to anniversary. And to the final argument that I have seen on all of this is, well, wouldn't you want them to be an anniversary character? I would, but there is no reason why they can't drop them early and then drop them again. Oh, well, you want them to double dip? Yeah, they're going to. They're going to. You're going to get them, I guess, hopefully for 11th anniversary, and then you'll get them again for 13th, or for a GDC, or for a TDC, or they're going to do these characters multiple times, and they could have easily done them multiple times here. And it's a bigger flaw in your game if you only trust in them delivering our characters if they're part of the anniversary, especially when we now have TDC and GDC, which we've always had worldwide. Tanabata, I mean, it's all the same thing. They could have easily delivered perfectly good Daima characters during either of those celebrations, and it'd been just as exciting. And then the other crazy thing is when I hear people say, well, they weren't hype enough for GDC, or they weren't hype enough for TDC. And they're supposed to be hype enough for anniversary? Like, to me, anniversary is the cream of the crop. Anniversary is the tippity top, bro. Then from there, it is worldwide, or now known as GDC, and then Tanabata. Like, the cream of the crop is anniversary. But even then, like this year, for me, like, I think the most exciting thing all year was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who was part of GDC and was not an anniversary character and has animations better than the anniversary characters. So like this year almost proved all of that null and void, because it was like, oh wait, look at this, look how good this character looks. So every argument can be countered with another argument that proves all of it wrong as to why it was always going to be the 11th anniversary. Why would we wait that long for, like, the thing about the mobile games that I always liked and I always sort of like praised them for was their turnkey ability to get these characters in the game like this, like this, like this. And when you have all the console games that I just have to imagine coming from other people and just looking at the characters take more time to develop for, it just begins to be like, what are we doing? Why are we waiting this long for Dokkan to do something with the new Dragon Ball stuff? It makes no sense to me, and we've come to a point that a game is now revived and is dropping the content, at least in terms of like news on it, before Dokkan has anything. Dokkan is literally in a position that it could be the final game to get something. And even as it stands right now, Kakarot's DLC 2 comes out in January. So even if Dokkan does do it for the 11th anniversary, Dokkan will still be the second to last game period to get Daima related content of like current day ongoing games. What are we talking about, man?